Hi, I'm Julien. I'm with my mate Thomas.
Hi.
We're the co-founders of RunDisc in Toulouse, France. And we're here to talk to you about our second game, Chants of Sennaar, how we conceived it, how we made it, and how we published it. So this is a trailer. Yes, there's some. Okay. Nice. Thank you. So, first of all, the birth of the project. So, who are we? So RunDisc it was founded in 2015 because Thomas and I met and decided to create our first game, Varion, which was purely a hobby. We did not want it to professionalize because Thomas worked in the private sector and I was a freelance art director. Sorry. We made this first game only for fun, just to learn to make games and because we wanted it. We didn't sell it at all, but it was okay because it wasn't the objective. It was launched in 2018 on PC and Switch. And we decided really early to work on another game. So we founded RunDisc only to be able to put Varion on Steam. But at the time we didn't want it to become video game professionals. We started to work on Chants of Sennaar in 2019. We just wanted to create another game because we liked to work together to create Varion. We wanted to double it. We were more confident to raise our missions because Varion was a pure multiplayer game with no characters, no scenario, nothing like that. We had gained in experience and we wanted to make a game like the one we'd like to play because Thomas and I are fans of puzzle game, adventure games, and Varion was really a training project. But Chants of Sennaar really much looks like the games we'll have to play. So we first talked about the art direction. It's not usual in a game conversation, but that's what we did. We were really, because I didn't say it, but we were two at the time. And we planned to make this game at two then. We knew the competition was harsh in video game, in independent video game, so we decided we needed a radical art direction. It was a starting point. It was to grab players' attention, because as you know, there are lots and lots of games who launch on Steam and on consoles each year. It's like 50,000, I think, for a year. We wanted so to grab players' attention, and also, we wanted to transform our weaknesses into strengths. I'm a designer, a graphic designer, and a big part of my job was to transform creative constraints in creativity. I liked, and Thomas too, work with constraints in technology, in budget. We had no budget at all. So we had to be clever, we had to be different if we wanted to have a chance to, one, make a game, and two, have it for him to have a chance to be sold. So we made some strategic choice from the beginning. We thought about positioning. It's another concept that you learn when you are freelance, like I was. Why do people want to work with me when there are 2,000 own guys on the sector? So the choices we made in art direction was driven by this point. We decided to think team first. What I want to say is that we don't create a project like in Wood Dreams and say we'll think later how we can produce that, how we can hire people with what money. No, the project was created because we were two people and we knew we could do it on our own. We wanted to avoid cloning existing game, of course, because we think when you make an independent game, you have two tracks. You can decide to follow a trend or to follow a known game style, but to do it better than anyone else. Some studios manage to do it. They do some games that are not very original, but they do it with passion and with great quality, and it's okay, and they manage to make a success. But you can also be original, be different, try to create something that wasn't seen before. We think an indie game has no choice but to be hyper creative. If you want to make another roguelike with a deck system and things which will look like 1,000 other games we launched that year, it's already lost. So we had a very beginning of art direction. I will talk of it later. We wanted to have a game to play. So first, we have a version it had nothing to do with languages. We were inspired by games like Inside, more adventure survival games. It was a story. You woke up in a strange sect, and you have to get out of it by observing how the guys and how the people in here are living, and by imitating them, by dressing like them. You have to be careful, you have to watch, and you have to do like them to find a way not to be recognized and to get out. But we abandoned this gameplay because it wasn't original enough. We had an art direction that we found quite original, but this looked too much like other games we knew. So we told ourselves we need a better gameplay. We need a most original gameplay. It happened. I played the Heaven's Vault several months ago. You may know this game. It's a game where you play some sort of spatial archaeologist which visits ruins and decipher a language. I love the idea. The game, I loved it a little less, but the core idea, I found it very cool. So we decided to talk about this and to try to think what we could build on this idea. We then work on the visual development. When I said to Thomas we need a very strong art direction, the first person I thought of was Philippe Dourier, which is a comics master in France. He was a friend of Mobius. I know when people see Chants of Sennaar, they think about Mobius first. It's okay, it's totally normal, but in fact, our first influence was not Mobius, it was Dourier, who works with incredible colors like this. So I told Thomas, we need a vivid yellow, we need electric blue, we need colors like that to make a game that is visually striking. Another influence was a very old school influence of the games. I talked about the games of the 1985, 1988 era on Amstrad. One of the games that influenced us the most was this one on the left, which is called La Abadía del Crimen, which is a Spanish game, by the way, that I got to know because I have family in Spain, and my primo gave me this game, and I found it fascinating. If you don't know it, it's an unofficial adaptation of The Name of the Rose, the novel from Umberto Eco, in which you have to enter an abbey, strange abbey, and you have to follow their rites. You have to be you have to go praying at 7 o'clock. You have to be eating at 12 o'clock, and in the intervals you can escape and start to make your investigation, but without getting caught and recognized by the monks. So you see, it was an important influence. Other games, French games, largely Captain Blood, Crafton Exunk, The Sentinel, lots of isometric games that I loved the capacity to create strange worlds with very little means. A game like Fairlight on the bottom, you have quite nothing on the screen, but the ambience is incredible. So we decided we were inspired by these games. This is the very first draft. I made it on a 3D software. It's not at all in Unity. I was just building some assets, and I was trying to put this vivid yellow I talked about on it. It was done in Photoshop, and when I had this first image with this color filter on it, I showed it to Thomas, and it was that we had the catch. That's what we want to do. So Thomas started to work on Unity to recreate this first draft. He worked the shader and the rendering. So that kind of it's not cell shading. It's more like a wireframe view, inspired by the 3D software. He recreated this wireframe view on Unity, and he put that color filter and another filter which makes the hatches you can see in the shadows. And we had our first Unity rendering of the game. Another influence it was at this moment when we had this first image, we started to think how it really looks like comics. It was not voluntary on the first, but I said, Thomas, look, it really looks like a comic, so we should inspire us from comics a lot more. So I bought some Mobius comics. I knew from when I was a child, of course. I also bought lots of comics from Peters and Scoyton, a comic saga called The Obscure Cities, which is very architectural, with lots of incredible cities and buildings, and various artists for their colors, their color schemes. And of course, the biggest influence in the game is architecture itself. We're from Toulouse, as I said. This cathedral you see on the left is in Toulouse, and it was when I was wandering around this cathedral, searching for a setup for our next game. I saw this, and I said to myself, yeah, that's it. That's what. Yeah, we could make a game like La Bahía del Crimen, like The Name of the Rose, in this kind of setup, but with strange colors, with a strange story. But we decided to start on this, and we broadened the architecture, not only Romanesque, Moorish, Babylonian, the ancient architecture, but also modern school like Art Deco, Brutalism, the Glasgow School. And if you play the game, you know that those two pictures are actually in the game. This one at the center is the Glasgow School of Arts, who was designed by Charles Rennie Mackintosh. And it is the library in the fourth level of Chants of Sennaar. Of course, I changed some details, but it's mainly this. And we also took inspiration from plastic artists who work with architecture as a material, like Nicolas Di, Thierry Urbain, MC Escher, of course, you all knew about. When we had this art direction, we had this first rendering of the game, we made another set of strategic choices. I got to learn to understand that powerful and credible universes are reference universe. You have to inspire from the reality to create something which looks real. You can't pull out everything from your head. You have to buy some books, to watch some movies, to watch some comics, to read some comics, to read some books. I read a lot of books, fiction books, history books. And this is one of the best key for a good how you say that, world building. We also looked for reference outside of video games. I think this is very important. If you only take influences from video games, you take influences that are already degenerated, already processed. So you can't make your own thing. So you have to, as I say, you have to watch films, movies, you have to watch comics, animes, you have to read books and things like that. You will find a lot of really good ideas that weren't exploited in video games, and you have more chances to make something original. Looking for reference outside of fictions too, if you want to create a world that seems to be living. As I said, you can look at real architecture, ancient and modern, real societies, real peoples. It's a very important inspiration. And you have to choose, well, we had to choose, because we were only 2 people, consistency over abundance. We wanted to make a game which could be short, but to be good, to be full of things to do. We didn't want to make a game which will longer last like 100 hours. It's okay if it's short. I prefer a short game which is cool from the beginning to the end on a very long game which is boring, like lots of games today. So we had the art direction, we had a beginning of a gameplay, we needed a script, a story. We started from the idea of several languages. I told you about Evans Vault, which has only 1 language, and our game we have 5 of them. So we have several languages, from which stems the idea of several peoples, of course, from which comes the idea of a tower, because those people must be near one from the other, but they can't be mixed. So we thought about a tower with 5 stages. We imagined conflictual relations between those peoples, and that is the basis of the script. This is the first draft, I think, of the tower I made, with, as you see, the first inspiration of each stage, of each roof, each floor, and each civilization. And it's only at this time that the myth of Babel, we thought about it. We were working on that, and we suddenly thought, hey, it looks like a Tower of Babel, mythical tower with people that can't speak to each other. So, contrary, the game was not from the beginning. The idea was not to make a game about the Tower of Babel. Not at all. The story of the game is not at all the story of the Tower of Babel, but we found the relation interesting, like a coincidence. So we decided to take it for its evocative power. You talk to someone about the Tower of Babel, he or she knows what you're talking about. So it's very convenient to introduce the game's world. You just have to say, imagine like a big Tower of Babel with people which can't talk to each other, and already people start to understand what you're talking about. So it's easier to make people appropriate the thematic and the script of the game. But it was a coincidence at the start. Then, how we made the game. So we enter the gameplay and narrative design, which is the hardest part of this game, of course. The hardest part was really to set up the definitive gameplay, because we had the idea, we knew what game we wanted to make. It could be like this, you should make this, but nothing worked. It was quite awful. We made a lot of iteration. We explored a lot of tracks. We were inspired by Obradin, by other games. At first, we hadn't any journal at all. We hadn't any validation at all. We wanted the players to just guess the words by themselves with no validation at all during the game. But of course, it was really too much difficulty. And we had to, as developers, we needed to be sure at some points of the game that the players were knowing enough words to be able to understand what happens in the game, because it's not just a puzzle game, it's also an adventure game with a story to tell, and we wanted people to understand what they're playing at. So, lots of iteration. We were really rigorous about our gameplay choice. We passed like 6 months. I'm having an idea. I told Thomas, hey, look, I have a nice idea. Thomas, he said, no, it's shit. It won't work. Okay. I have an idea. I look at this idea. No, look, that's the problem. We can't do that. It was like that for 6 months. It was quite horrible. But we finally arrived at a good gameplay we thought was efficient and which worked. Then was the writing. It was not the most hard part, but the most complex part of the project, because we need to create everything at the same time, because everything in this game is interconnected. The vocabulary, of course, the words you can speak, the dialogues, the puzzles, the level design, scenario are completely intertwined. So each time you change like a word in the script, you may have to change half of a level. And everything was developed and created in the same time. So we had, again, to be absolutely rigorous in creating and updating our documents. Each of the levels of the game is a big Excel file, like this one, with lots of cheats, in which every word, every dialogue, every puzzle, every interaction, every inscription you see, everything is documented, everything is referenced with a number. This on the top is a map of the level, and you see B4, B3, 04, I-17 are references of interaction, inscriptions, puzzle, and things like that. It was, even if we were only 2 developers, we really had to be very careful about updating the documents, because if we didn't make this for like 2 weeks, we are completely lost in our project, and nothing still works. So it was hard, it was complex, but we managed to do it. So I let Thomas for the next part.
Thank you. So, like you said several times, you are a very few team, and on the tech part, there are only 1 developer, me, and on at full time. So, like we don't want that the game take 10 years to be produced, we have to make a choice. So, we analyze our constraints. Very few teams want to make an adventure game at least during 10 hours, and a sim chip, PC, and console. So we start to choose our technological stack. First, the choice of the engine. So we chose Unity first because we know the engine, because we use it on our first project and not have the time to learn another one. But by chance, it was the good engine for the project. It was an engine that is enough open to be adapted with your art direction. So we have the ability to tune your shader and have the look that we want, and have also a simple of use. If you compare Unity and Unreal, for example, it's faster to develop with Unity. You have less properties to set, the code is simple, and you can have and develop faster. Next, you decide to use a middleware for the audio. That was wise. And why? Because we have less needs on specific on audio. We have like some sounds, music, but a middleware on audio have two advantages. The first one is they create a middleware in software, but also a middleware between the developer and the sound designer, so that the two people can work separately, can work asynchronous, and the connection is very simple between the both. And the other advantage is the portability. Unity-wise, when you develop with this technology, you click on one button and your project run on console. Of course, you have some things to do on console. You have all the requirements of Microsoft, Nintendo. It's time because they have all different requirements. They are all different way to name the same thing. You have a stick, a joystick, analogic joystick. I don't know how they do, but they try to they succeed to have different exigencies for everything on that console. But it's just requirement, and it was a little time, it was easier. And the next thing we use, it's a little middleware that's called Rewired. It's an asset, Unity, that costs 40 euros, I think. And I think it's the best 40 euros I ever spent of my life, because they manage all the type of joystick without doing anything. So with this choice, we can check the first point, develop fastly, and the second can have a theme chip. Then we want to create a game of at least 10 hours with 5 levels. The levels are quite big for an independent game. And we have to find a solution to when the one people that work on the environment could be all the people, the place. Like you see, Chants of Sennaar, you have a notion of place. A place, it is a scene in Unity. You have one or several entry output, and we have 2,000 places in the game. So we create that segmentation because they allow us to work with modularity. So when we work on a scene, they are all logic, they are all space, and it was us like a big environment to manage at the same time. The segmentation was also important on the question of the assets. Like you see, Chants of Sennaar, you have by level 30, 40 different assets, generic assets that was assembled like Lego. And on each place, we had one or two specific assets that apport specificity of the place. And something very important, and we'll see next, there are no texture, no UV on no 3D model on Chants of Sennaar. And that's
because I don't know how to make UVs, yes. And I was the only graphic artist on the game, and I didn't know how to make UVs and texture, and I have no time and no competencies to do that. So I said to Thomas, do what you want, but I don't want to have to make textures.
Ouais. Next point, it's the camera angles. If you see Chants of Sennaar, it's not an isometric game because it's real 3D, but it is on the right. And we not create altern 30,060 degrees environment. We just create what you see. So you see the half of the scene. And last point, it is a technical choice. We have a gameplay that it was initially created like a point and click. So you click on the mouse and with the mouse, and the player moves to the point, and we use a nav mesh. So a nav mesh is a floor where we can move the player. No system with colliders. We have to define each walls one by one. We define only where he can work, and it's easier. And we decided to make a console version, and we don't want to make a shift version console where you manage the pointer with the joystick. So we decided to, in this version, move the player on with the joystick, like an action-adventure game, and we make the choice to keep the same system of net mesh, or we have tricks to move with added force the player on the nav mesh. So this last point is very important because we gain a lot of time with configuration of place, no colliders, only the standard Unity systems that automatically generate the nav mesh, both for mouse and gamepad. Now, the rendering pipeline. Like Julien says, it doesn't want texture, it doesn't want UV. Okay. So what we do, we make a game with a lot of post-processing. The first picture on the left, it's what the game look like when you remove all the post-processing, and you see it is between blue and purple. Why? Because in this version, we encoded data that explain what is the color of each pixel that we see next. We pick on the color map. What is the light? In information for adding edge for the edge detection. So in Chants of Sennaar, the first post-processing is edge detection to add edge on the screen, and we make the choice to use the technical of edge detection and not outline because it is faster to use. We have two different techniques to make edge post-processing that analyze the picture and draw the lines, or outlines. It is a system where you print 2 times the element. The first one is all black but a little big, and the second one drawn a second time. But on this technique, you have to set the normal for have a very good resizing of the elements, and it takes a lot of time. Post-processing is better. So then we have a color map. Each level of Chants of Sennaar have its own color map. And the last point, it is a simple filtering that have a gradient on every screen and hatching on the shadows. Other part important, it was the testing strategy. With only one developer on the tech part, you can't be. You must to avoid to have bugs. It's the only solution. When your build is ready, you have to be sure you have bugs, because if you have to sim ship ship 1 to 5 different versions at the same time, if each time you have a bug, you rebuild 6 times. So just only that, you have to be very, very careful on bugs. And we develop a strategy. I come from industrial IT, so the automatization of test was something I have always used before, so I use the same technique. I automatize all I can. So when we test Chants of Sennaar, we have the player, a bot that say what you have to do, and like is in most gameplay, opportunity is very easy. Click here, click on that, click on the portal, etc. So you have script of bots. You play it with the time extend, and we look. Okay, it works. And 95% of the tests are with this strategy. And we have also a manual part for something like user interface. User interface is very simple In your case, because we are few very fast, you have the journal, put a rune, remove a rune, check validation, error, etc. You have 5 minutes of test, and it's okay. So we keep manually the part of the test that it was used on all the gameplay repeatedly, so it is very easy to test. And the scripting of the alternative scenario, the pass-through, I automated. Sorry.
It's me. It's me, no? No, it's you. Okay.
If you want.
Go.
So the story and of the game and the evolution of the context. So we start the game in really with 4 people, mainly Julian and I, but we also have 2 other people. The person that draw the illustration of the journal, that is the wife of Julian, and a sound designer that previously worked with us on Variant. We are all part-time development. We have a job on the same time, and we speak with Julien to make a second game for a while before Variant, and at the moment we have in 2020 the COVID confinement. And at the beginning of confinement, we are locked on our house, and we say, what do we do? Well, we can make a second game. And we start to develop Chants of Sennaar. So at this moment, we have 0 budget, no office space, we work at home, and we are 100% online. We never very few times see in physics with the development. And we have Focus Entertainment that I run the project. We contact us during the DevCom 1 year after the starting of the development. We speak with us. When we sign and start to working with us, we have it's half of the development between the implementation, the writing. And we came with initial needs that was a little budget for marketing, music, sounds. And they proposed to us to make a co-production to finance all the remaining development and to accompany us until the release. So that changed a lot of time for us. We have money. So you can adapt our activity. We can pay people to work with us. We work with a composer. We have musicians that was recorded on the soundtrack of the Chants of Sennaar. We can pay our sound designer, the illustration, etc. We grow to 6. Not more, but it was enough to make the game. We work with producer of Focus that have the experience in producing game and accompany us on the rest of the project, and of course all service of Focus, QA, playtesting, localization, marketing. And we have a big schedule, we have deadlines, and all happens good. We schedule on the delay. The dev completely at the time on May 2023. And at this moment, we just want to publish the game on PC and Switch. And we had Xbox and PS, so we delay the release to the beginning of September.
It was because Zelda Breath of the Wild
Yes.
was scheduled to launch on May 2023. So Focus told us you may want to wait a little bit. But you can make two more ports, and we launch it on September. Yes, it's a good idea, but in September, Starfield launched, like
the 6th.
Like the web, right?
The 6th of September started, yes.
1 day later,
But it was very good for us.
Yes.
Yes, because in Steam, we are the last game what is published before Starfield, and no other game, the big game, was published. So during 1 week, we are the first game in the trending release. So thank you, Starship, for the visibility of our game.
And it's...
Thanks you, and if you have questions.
Okay.